I've got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we've now come to the end of XKO number 11. Sean Malone and Roland Gamez here doing a little recap on what the action was today. You can already hear my voice is already leaving. You know, Sean, well, it's a beautiful show. Tell me what you thought about the overall performance.
Well, XKO is notorious for having some of the best fights, not just on a local promotions level, but I would put their fights up against. I mean, they killed Shark Fights, which was last week. I mean, they're strongly they're becoming a major player here in Texas. But overall, I mean, it didn't have the star power as XKO 10, but the fights were far better, far more enjoyable, and far more exciting for the fans.
Well, Sean, I got to tell you, we had so much footage here because there was so much. All the fighters are now willing to take part in. I'll tell you what, isn't that a great problem to have?
I mean, it's amazing how they're beating down the door to get Roland to interview him prior to the fight, and then making sure that they win so that they get the post-fight interviews. I mean, it's a tremendous thing.
And how about a little shout out from the cage from J.D. Shelley?
Yeah, and we're rapidly making friends in all the gyms, and J.D. Shelley is a man that's whose word and whose demands respect, and for him to want us to make sure we interviewed Steven Peterson was a tremendous thing for the website.
Well, that is great. I tell you what, kudos to us, and I got to say that because we worked hard. Let's get down to what the first bout not the first bout. I don't want to cover them all, but you know what? We had a controversial decision where we saw Dusty Mason win by a tap out at 54 seconds of the first round by armbar against Ali Aloui. I think that's the way you say it. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, it wouldn't be an XKO show without controversy. I mean, we're beginning to see that. I mean, obviously the last XKO 10 with the Doug Frey, Steven Peterson fight, and this time, the replay, it looks like he tapped. Now, his camp, Alawi, will claim that he was fishing for the ankle, and so it's kind of hard to tell if you're not one of the participants. If you're not Alawi, it's hard to say, well, you tapped. The referee and the TDLR seem to think that he tapped. Replay kind of jaded everyone's opinion to think that he tapped. I'm not going to lie. It's inconclusive to me.
Well, I tell you what, controversy, we'll leave it at that. Let's move to the next one. A much anticipated great bout between Chris Pacero and Burt McDonald. You give me the cliff notes on what happened there. You saw it.
Well, these guys came to win, and at the opening bell, both of them were trading punches. It's kind of the fight that I anticipated it to be, a drag-out slugfest. Chris Pacero always comes to fight. He represents American Revolution down in Corpus Christi, and they're a bunch of killers. Burt McDonald with Texas Fighting Syndicate also breeds a bunch of killers, and I just knew that it would mesh well. I didn't think Chris Pacero would take him down and submit him, though. I thought it would be more of a TKO or decision victory if Pacero were to win. But he looked good. He looked really good in taking Burt down. Burt has got great ground game, but that triangle choke he put on McDonald was too tight.
Well, you hit it. First round triangle choke at 109, a clear tap out. Chris Pacero enters the cage at 3-2, exits 4-2 on his way back to Corpus Christi.
Yeah, and I think that with this victory, he should be considered for another title shot. Sure. Now, obviously, Chris Jones is probably going to fight somebody else because he just fought Pacero and just beat Pacero convincingly. So it would be good to see him get a rematch because it was a great fight at XKO 10, and I'm sure when these two guys meet together in Pacero, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of him with his boxing skill and his will to win. I think he makes some major noise here.
Excellent wrap-up. Let's go ahead and jump into the battle of the JJs. We have JJ Sanchez and JJ Holmes. Oh, I tell you what, the upset of upsets came here. Everybody thinking JJ Holmes would walk out a winner. JJ Sanchez wins.
Yeah, it was a very anticlimactic outcome to the fight. I mean, JJ Holmes in his pre-fight interview with you said that he was going to fight. There can only be one JJ, and it was going to be JJ Holmes. Well, he looked. I mean, if you take out the fact that it was a referee stoppage, he was dominating the fight from the beginning to the. I mean, JJ Sanchez really, it was game, but he's nowhere near the same skill set as JJ Holmes, and JJ Holmes showed it with his wrestling and then with the ground and pound, and he just controlled the fight throughout. But he did make some rookie mistakes. I mean, obviously, this is only his fourth fight, and he kept his head ducked. Every time he would get out of exchanges, outside of the clinches, outside of anything, he would have his head ducked. And so J.J. Sanchez was timing that because even us over in press row were like, J.J. Holmes needs to lift his head up because he's going to get caught with the knee. Sure enough, he got caught with the knee, opened up a nasty cut. I mean, the doctor was right to stop it. It was a very, very bad cut. I would like to have seen it go at least to the scorecards, provided that they went 2 rounds.
Sure.
But JJ Holmes is going to make noise in this game. JJ Sanchez just kind of got him. It's one of those fluke things. That's why MMA is so exciting.
Well, the whole thing, like we always talk about MMA math, I'm going to go ahead and say it real quick. J.J. Sanchez comes in on his pro debut, walks out 1-0. He's undefeated, beating a very, very recognized fighter. Don't forget, J.J. Holmes, two-time national wrestling champion. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with this on this fight that J.J. Sanchez, whenever I talked to him on his wrap-up, he said, I knew that when he comes in also, he puts his head low, trying to take the takedown, as a wrestler would.
Yeah, and I think J.J. Holmes has the wrestling and the submission skills. He needs to work on his stand-up. His stand-up is not where it needs to be for him to really be taken seriously on a higher plane. And obviously that's something that he can work on, and he's getting better. He's getting more comfortable on his feet. And you can see he's more apt to trade with other fighters. Again, he was telegraphing this takedown, obviously being a wrestler, and with his wrestling skills, he can telegraph it all day long and still get it because he's just that good. Sanchez just timed him in, and he'll learn from this. He won't keep his head down going forward. I can guarantee you that.
Well, J.J. Sanchez walks out the winner. Now let's get down to the title for the XKO Bantamweight title. It was between Stephen Ocho Peterson and Alex Warpath Russ. This was scheduled for 5 rounds, 5 minutes of action in each round. And I'm going to let the mighty Sean Malone call this one right quick. But I'm going to say this right quick. At 1 minute and 57 seconds of the first round, it comes to an end. Tell us what happened.
Well, you called it in your interview with Stephen just now. The energy in this arena, you could cut it with a knife. I mean, it was so palatable that it actually produced goosebumps on my arms. I mean, it was crazy. The people, the crowd, with masks surrounded the cage. I mean, it was standing room only. These two fighters entered the cage. I mean, what you had was a battle of 2 alpha males trying to vie for the title. And, in the end, there can only be one. I knew Russ, obviously, is a tremendous fighter. He's got half the Metroplex scared to get in the cage with him. Credit to Peterson and Russ for agreeing to the bout. Peterson, got him in that arm bar. We all know Russ can't be submitted on his limbs, apparently. But, double jointed or not, when you get caught in a rear naked choke with a fighter of Peterson's caliber, chances are you're going to tap, and that's what happened.
Well, we did see a lot of strength. Don't forget, let's talk about Alex Russ showing a lot of strength at the very beginning of the round. Tell me about it.
Look, I guarantee you that double leg slam takedown that he took would have made Brock Lesnar jealous. I mean, that was a tremendous takedown. And, truth be told, Peterson was kind of lucky that he fell in a fortuitous position to grab on to the armbar, because anything else, and Russ would have just, transitioned over, maybe get a submission, maybe ground and pound him out. But Peterson's the champion. Now, you can say what you want about his title winning performance against Doug Frey, but I think tonight he puts all those naysayers to rest. All that negativity that's surrounding him, he won the championship, and tonight he proved he was the champion.
Excellent summation. Only thing I'm going to say right here is that right before the final seconds of the bout, we saw Alex almost remove an attempted rear naked. I mean, it was just a matter of strength versus strength.
Now, Alex Russ is a great fighter. I mean, that much is for certain. And the way he fought off the rear naked choke for as long as he did is a testament to his ability, his training here at the gym, and just his overall skill set. Again, Peterson's the champion. Peterson has similar skill sets. And in the end, again, this was against 2 alpha males. There can only be one champion. You put these guys in the ring 5 times, I guarantee you get 5 different results, and tonight it was Peterson's.
Well, it's my bad right now putting a lot of word on Alex Russ, because we sit back and we look at Mr. Peterson, Stephen Peterson. You are a warrior. I've got to tell you, I even said this, a gladiator at heart, a heart of a lion. And we thank you, Stephen Peterson, for bringing us the action. As we start wrapping this up, any final words that you have to say right here?
Well, no, I think XKO again delivered. There's a reason why they're selling out every one of their local events. I mean, this is a local promotion. Granted, there's not a lot of competition for XKO, but there's a reason why they're still in the game. They provide great fights, great atmosphere, and the fans come in flock. When you put good fighters in and you market your promotion as an event, which is what XKO does successfully, you get people to come, and you get standing room only crowds, and you get great fights, and you get fighters clamoring to get on there, like James Vick. James Vick wanted to get on the XKO card for the last 2 promotions and got on this card, and as we saw, put the guy to sleep with an armbar. So I mean, it was there's a reason why fighters want to get on XKO cards, and there's a reason why us media members and fight fans always want to buy tickets or cover an XKO event, because the atmosphere here is second to none.
Well, I've got to close this up. I know we probably got a little long-winded here, but I got to tell you, Sean, this was information worth covering. As we bring another interview to an end, as we bring another recap to an end, I can only tell you, ExtremeKnockout.com. Stay tuned on them. Also, don't forget North Texas Fisticuffs, your leader in fight fan information, the moving world of what I call MMA and boxing. On behalf of none other than Sean Malone right here, my partner, and myself, Roland Gamez, www.North Texas Fisticuffs, bringing another recap to an end. And until our next Roland's recap and our next session, we salute you, the voice of Texas MMA and boxing action.